Hi, welcome back to another Crypto Day video. It's Friday afternoon, which means another weekly crypto roundup video. And before we jump into the stories that we're going to cover today, let's take a quick glance at the markets. And as you can see here, market cap 334.5 billion at the moment. That's up about 4.5 billion on last week. So it's been really a week where nothing hugely has happened. We had the sort of first half of the week, we've had a bit of a pullback, and then those losses have been sort of regained over the last sort of 3 days. So overall, Bitcoin's roughly where it was a week ago. There's been one or two decent coins this week in the top 20. IOTA's had a decent week, and Cardano have both had a good week. Binance coin as well has had a decent week, and then a few others have done pretty poorly. So TRON has had a pretty poor week. Dash again has had a pretty poor week as well. But most of the other kind of coins tracking pretty much sideways along with Bitcoin. So maybe this is the most kind of recent low. This is higher than last month's low, which I think is possibly a slightly positive thing. And we are seeing some of those gains pulled back. So the market is pretty manipulated at the moment. Nobody really knows what's going to happen kind of week to week. But, you know, just fingers crossed that we have a few good, steady kind of weeks in a row now. But anyway, let's jump over to our first story. So the first story this week is this one, and it's about Ethereum and basically how popular the Ethereum network was in 2017. So last year there were 1,090 decentralized applications launched and 700 tokens launched on the Ethereum network. And obviously there's a kind of symbiotic kind of relationship. So when one of these kind of projects that launches on Ethereum does well, that's also very positive for Ethereum as a network. And this is one of my reasons why I think kind of network coins will do really well. So I think Ethereum's a really good project, and there's a lot of other ones now around Neo. You've got kind of Walton Chain and kind of Waves and lots of others. So I think these kind of platforms, as opposed to just pure out and out kind of coins, will be really kind of big over the next kind of year or so. But it just goes to show quite how big Ethereum is. And for those of you who have been kind of talking about, you know, the idea of the flipping in when Ethereum may become bigger than Bitcoin, I really think this could happen. I think either end of this year or sort of first half of next year, I think Ethereum market cap could overtake kind of Bitcoin's, because really of this kind of like activity, people launching tokens on the network, people launching decentralized applications. They've got lots of work to do on scaling and stuff like that, but that's to take nothing away from the project. I think it's a fantastic project, and obviously the utilization on it is quite impressive. So the other thing just to note out of this thing is that 29.2 million unique Ethereum addresses now. Now that's obviously used by Ethereum itself, but also a lot of these kind of tokens as well. So, and you know, the growth of Ethereum last year, you know, huge, and you know, continues to grow pretty well in 2018 at the moment. Now, as always, I will put all the links to these stories below so you can kind of check them out yourself. But let's jump over to the next story, and it's another Bitmain story, just a quick one today. A few people were talking about, I think I probably mentioned it in a previous video, about this new AntMiner, the B3, which is a specific ASIC for an ASIC-only kind of coin. So the coin's called Byton, and basically these miners were announced, I think it was last month, and in China a few people have been receiving the first miners, and there have been quite a lot of complaints. So unusually for Bitmain, a lot of people are sort of saying that they are not hitting the kind of hash rate that they expected. So there was supposed to be a hash rate 750 hashes per second, and a lot of people saying that are only producing 500 to 600 hashes a second. So that's quite a big drop off on what's expected. The other thing with Bitmain is that whether you like them or not, often their miners outperform what they say they will do in terms of hash rate, particularly the kind of newer miners are coming out on different kind of algorithms. So often people find that, you know, something's advertised and they're actually getting a higher hash rate than that. The other thing which people have known for ages is that obviously Bitmain are mining with these before they send them out. A lot of people were complaining that they were receiving machines which were kind of dirty, they hadn't even been kind of cleaned properly, the fans were dirty and dusty and stuff like that. Now Bitmain have always said, well, we kind of like, you know, run in the machines, make sure they're kind of working, but obviously they are mining with these machines in the background before they sell them to users. So quite interesting not a sort of return on investment kind of issues, but quality control and stuff like that. Some people were saying that the miners have been made out of kind of second-hand kind of parts and stuff like that. So a lot of people have been whinging, basically. But a lot of people over in kind of China have been complaining about these new AntMiner B3. So I don't know if anybody on the channel has one. If you do, leave us a comment, let us know what you think of it and the hash rate that you're getting. But let's jump over to the next story. And that's Bittrex. Now, Bittrex is an exchange that I really like. I use Bittrex quite a lot. It has a bit of negative press, I think, which I think is a little bit unfair, but Bittrex is, I think a pretty decent exchange. I've used it a lot over the last couple of years, and the good news is that they are set to launch fiat trading pairs, and I think that's literally in the next few days. I think it's next week that they're due to launch. Now, it's not as exciting as the headline may make out. As usual, there's some caveats to this. So you look at this and you think, okay, Bittrex is launching fiat trading pairs. They have, I think, over 200 cryptos on Bittrex. So a lot of people were thinking, oh, perfect, I can jump in, not have to use Coinbase or Gemini or something like that. But the upshot is that initially it's only for corporate investors and only within the US and only within a few states. If you scroll to the bottom, you can see it's reserved for corporate customers in Washington, California, New York, and Montana at the moment. But I think the positive thing with this is that Bittrex and other cryptocurrency exchanges are now getting signed up with kind of banks. So I think this is, in terms of kind of adoption, a really good kind of positive kind of step. It'll start with corporate users, and then that will trickle down to probably other users in the States, maybe additional kind of additional states within the US, and then hopefully down to kind of non-commercial customers, so individual kind of customers in the future. So this is what we need to see. We need crypto exchanges to get kind of banking kind of regulations so that you can move money in and out. A lot of the exchanges like Bittrex, like Poloniex, like Binance and stuff like that are basically crypto to crypto exchanges, which means you need to have crypto before you can kind of use them in order to kind of exchange between different currencies or different coins. And the fact that you'll hopefully in the near future be able to kind of put money directly into these exchanges in fiat, whether that's bank transfers or credit card payments or whatever, and then kind of buy them, means that you don't need to find another way of getting your crypto before you can start trading between them. So I think in terms of adoption, as more and more exchanges get tied up with kind of banks, I think it's a really positive thing going forward. But let's jump over to the next story. And that's Huobi, I think is how you pronounce it. Huobi is launching a cryptocurrency ETF. So another good news story about adoption. So the cryptocurrency trading platform Huobi is launching a crypto-based exchange-traded fund, an ETF, an investment option that allows retail investors to get exposure without having to go through the palaver of actually buying crypto. So I think this is a really interesting development. We've had some ETFs kind of coming out. I think there's going to be a huge number of these over the second half of this year and the beginning of next year. And I think this will be a mixture. So I think there's probably a lot of these will start with kind of Bitcoin ETFs, and then they'll move into other kind of cryptocurrencies. And I think you'll start to see sort of index fund type kind of ETFs with a mixture of top 20, top 50 coins, stuff like that. So I think this is a really good way of getting money into the kind of space, particularly when they are the exchanges themselves are around to pick up this kind of cryptocurrency that's been invested. So I think this is a really really good positive step. I'm not sure exactly when it's due to go live, but it will be hopefully in the not too distant future. But this just came out earlier today, so yeah, really good news on that front as well. And then our last story this week, and this is TRON. And as we mentioned at the beginning, TRON's had a pretty poor week price wise. It's down I think about 4 or 5% on the 7-day kind of price, but the good news is, and this was announced yesterday, I believe, that their beta version of their MainNet, which is their own blockchain, launched yesterday. Now, this is due to go live completely, I believe, at the end of June. I think it's somewhere around the 25th of June. But TRON, which was an ERC20 token on Ethereum, and we talked about Ethereum earlier, it's one of the success stories, I think, in terms of kind of token sales. But they are moving off of Ethereum's platform and moving onto their own blockchain. So it's a beta version at the moment, but they will be moving. We look here, so yeah, migration will take place between 21st and the 24th of this month, and then 25th of this month the new network is set to go live. So if you do have tokens on exchanges, keep an eye, maybe go to their subreddit or have a look on the site how you can do those kind of migrations and make sure you're in a position to take advantage of the new token when it comes out, or the new coin when it comes out on their own blockchain. So that's yeah, really good news, I think, for kind of TRON going forward. They've moved away from Ethereum, which they started on, into their own kind of stuff, which will allow them to do far more bits and pieces in the future. And as usual with crypto, the price has not reflected, the good news at all. So they are down this week. But anyway, that's it for the stories this week. Let's jump over to the giveaway. And if you watched last week's video, you'll know it's a syndicate giveaway this week. So let's click start and pick a winner. Okay, so congratulations to Christian. I think you may have won before. I noticed you do comment a lot of my videos, and thanks for that. Thanks for supporting the channel. So congratulations, Christian. And he says, waiting for the video to show up. Always good to hear the crypto news of the week, and that is your syndicate address. So what I will do now is just briefly pause the video, and I will grab my wallet up on the other machine. So just bear with me for a couple of minutes. So let's just find out how much I've got to send over. So that's $10 divided by 0.286655, which is 34.8, so 35 syndicate. And let's just grab the address. So let's copy that, and we'll go over to the wallet here. So I'm just going to paste that address in, 35 syndicate. I'll just make sure that's not going to send from one of my master nodes. Okay, and we will send that over. Okay, so that's gone. So congratulations again to Christian. Thanks for supporting the channel. I've seen your comments a lot, so thanks for checking back in, and congratulations on winning this week's giveaway. Now next week we're going to do an Ethereum giveaway. Now almost everybody will have heard of Ethereum, but if you haven't, ethereum.org is their website. You can read all about the project there. But that's it for this week. If you want to enter next week's giveaway, leave me a comment below, give me a thumbs up on the video, subscribe to the channel, and just leave me a comment below with your Ethereum address in, and you might win $10 of Ethereum next week. That's it for this week. Thanks very much for watching again. Give me a thumbs up if you would, that would be great, and have a great weekend. Thanks again. Bye bye.